first question is, well, generative AI is a very broad term, can mean a lot of things to a lot of people, a lot of different people. But let's start with, how do you envision AI impacting R&D, and what are the immediate, most profound actions that it can have on R&D? Let's start with Rupari.
Thank you for giving me opportunity to participate in this panel. So I'm from CIPLA, and CIPLA largely caters to the generic formulation development, generic API. We have this ELN up and running for last 5 years in CIPLA across all of our labs, and it's the wonderful tool for collaboration. We have almost 95% of our workflows built in ELN, right from experimentation to reference standards and instruments, and we also have instrument integration in place for crucial chromatography test. So we have pretty good fair data also generated working on the analytics and all. And I can say that because of all these advantages that this ELN platform has offered us, we see a lot of reduction in the time of experiment recording, as well as we see certain key data also be able to use on the analytics platform. But whether these operational efficiencies in the labs has really translated into the more significant KPI that R&Ds have, which is time to market of a product. And the answer is no, because the way we are working to reduce the time for experiment recording and building the operational efficiencies in the lab. On the other hand, we see that there are a lot of complexities in the product development. No generic development is remains simple. There is a lot of complexities coming from the science. These are pretty complex molecules right now. As well as we see a lot of complexities being imposed by the regulators as well. So in a way, we see that however we try to simplify the processes, bring the operational efficiencies, they are not translated really into the time to market of a product. And there we see that the role of AI could be very crucial, as it can help scientists to really understand the science, give some diagnostic tool so that he can first decide what he needs to plan as experiments, and then make the experiments and then test it. Rather than make, test and decide, it has to be test, decide, make and then test. Because what we see that in the last 3 years, there has been increase in the number of experiments, which could be around more than 50%. And this data is also available because we have ELN for past 5 years. So we can pretty understand the complexities that we deal with. So AI can really help us to bring a lot of understanding in terms of science, and through many embedded components or through the integration to multiple tools, maybe material science or the generative AI or LLM, we can have these wonderful tools to the user to understand the science in the better way. Such as we can have many auto-authoring, we can have the AI-based analytics, which can help us understand the pattern across the lot of variables that are involved. So I think as we move onto this journey of AI, there would be enormous applications that we see to get insights for scientists. And the most useful application that I see through AI is a platform for developing in silico experiments. The kind of knowledge or the insights that scientists can get out of a material science about the formulation that he's going to develop, how stable it would be, whether he is right in selecting those excipients. So this is all, I can say, the going to be significant use cases for AI.
Thank you. We'll move on to Ankit.
Thanks. Good evening, all. I would divide my answer into two parts, right? AI/ML for structured data and AI/ML for unstructured data. When we talk about unstructured data, the life of a scientist starts with reading a lot of literatures, right? And there are multiple people who work on the same project, and we cannot waste time in reading different people reading the same literature again and again. So how we use LLM there is, we have automatically AI-based knowledge graphs which are built from these literatures, right? Where users can identify what are they looking for in a literature, then club them together, and then identify what could be the maybe accurate piece within a document or a literature which could be much more meaningful to them in that project. That's how we use LLM in unstructured data currently. For structured data, because we were on ELN for the last 7 or 8 years, and especially into discovery, right? When a chemistry registers a new novel molecule, and it is being tested in in vitro and in vivo labs, now we have a kind of a knowledge base with us, right? What kind of molecules would be active against what kind of pathogens or what kind of insects in agrochemicals. In the pharma world, against what targets would be show more efficacy. So using this data, now probably we train our models, we use machine learning, and then use AI models to probably predict whether the molecule which we will make would be active in particular, in vitro labs or in vivo labs based on against certain fungal strains or not. So that's where probably we've done first applications of AI/ML which we're trying to apply in our structured data or the discovery work currently.
Dr. Karthik.
Thank you. Kapil, first of all, thanks for calling odd one out in this audience. I am a scientist. I'm a practicing scientist. I'm a chemist by background. And in 1993, I wrote an article, Artificial Intelligence in Chemical Synthesis, about 30 years back when I was a student. I'm very happy it took 30 years to sit in this audience. Maybe today what I am doing, it will take another 30 years to come back to this discuss. Maybe someone will be discussing. So if I understand the questions correctly, AI for R&D is a theme of today's debate, right? We are discussing about ELN. How much minutes I got?
Sorry? Yeah, we have time.
Since I did not give you a presentation or talk, which usually I give 1 hour, and I take 3 minutes or 5 minutes of your time, you can stop me anytime, or outside we can discuss. That for AI, you need data. Do you have data? ChatGPT is not chemistry data. I checked with ChatGPT. I checked with the large language model. I code it. I test it. Okay? It says pentacarbonyl, some molecule, which is boiling point is 100 degrees Celsius, is lower than methanol, boiling point is 68. Is it 100 is lower than 68? So don't trust this ChatGPT. We have to look for ChemGPT in your future ELN. So how you can build the ChemGPT? You need all the publications from the day 1 till today. By the time I speak, some 30,000 papers are published in chemistry, should be loaded to the system. Whether it's a patent, whether it's a publication, whether it's a PhD thesis, whatever it is, molecule, reaction, reagent, condition, whatever the field you have in your ELN, until unless it is loaded, until unless it is understood, until unless it is modeled, until unless predicted and then only we can come up with some model which can tell. You can call a name, whatever the name which you want to assign for the future product name, voice to voice, okay? The future ELN will be voice to voice. You speak to the ELN will speak to you. What happens if I mix styrene with iodine in the presence of methanol with zinc chloride as a reagent? I want the ChatGPT or ChemGPT or whatever the AI should tell, should do the reaction, should do the model, it will find the papers, it will tell which table, which entry, what is the yield, it should tell me compound so and so, 98% yield if methanol used as a solvent. It is not far off. I believe it is going to come. Okay? So, whenever you call scientists like this, we always look for things which doesn't exist. Okay? So, this is my view. Thanks, Kapil, for expressing what is coming. If you don't do it, I have to do it. Okay? So, with this view, we trust AI, we look for data, we build the model, we will use it. So, I don't know whether I made the point clear. Maybe now I will give it to the industry person. Thank you.
So I guess you are not the odd one out. You are the one who should be there on this panel because the way you actually put it through is it reminded me of our users, how they ask. Yeah. So this is the expectation from the industry veteran, and this is what the AI is there to solve for. Like you rightly said, the day is not too far. It's there on the way. Just the fact that we are not able to connect the dots together. Once we are able to connect the dots together, probably we'll be there. So one interesting thing you said, that don't trust ChatGPT. Just one anecdote on top of it. Artificial intelligence is artificial stupidity if you're not coupling it up with prompt engineering. Yeah. So till the time you're not passing the right prompt, don't expect the right results from ChatGPT. Yeah, or for any GPT for that matter, right? So prompt engineering coupled with Gen AI, which runs an LLM at the background, is the right combination what we should look for. And see, there are certain things which the models are dumb, like I said, artificial stupidity. The reason why I still continue to claim it is also there are certain business rules which the models are not trained upon. Yeah, because again, this field is ever increasing, evolving. So those business rules also need to be defined and put together so that the filtered output is what is the actual thing which you should look for. Not passing some random prompt to the GPTs of the world. It will never give the right thing. And it's called hallucination. Yeah, so the GPT hallucinates, and so does the human being because of the data what we see through. I think there are 4 components to the whole AI piece. One, I always start with the use case. In drug discovery space, in drug development space, even in manufacturing space, there are ample amount of use cases where you can put an AI. Again, I'm restricting myself from ML because again, that conversation we should have separately. ML is not AI. Yeah, first thing. There is something called deep learning as well. Again, that's a separate concept altogether. But AI, just limiting to that particular perspective, there are numerous use cases. So that is the first point which we should look for. Second point, which Sir rightly mentioned on the data. Yeah, so AI will not work if there is no data. As simple as that. Data is oil. I think it is more precious than oil. Oil will get extinct. Yeah, data will never. Data will keep on increasing, and the data tsunami will increase always. So second important thing is the data. Third important thing is the compute. Yeah, I don't know how many of you know that there's a chips shortage going around the world for GPU chips. Yeah, so these chipsets are very, very short right now. Even if you want to provision it on cloud, you need to reserve that instance, or you have to pay hefty cost, because it's very, very expensive. It is not readily available. So this is a third important thing on the compute. What will be your infrastructure looking like? Will it be an on-premise setup or a cloud setup? Are you ready to bear a capex or a opex cost? Yeah, so it depends on organization to organization, use case to use case, it varies. And the fourth and the final most important thing is the validation. Whatever data comes out, how much is it validated? if at all hallucination continues, the results will always be hallucination, right? So these are the 4 steps I think which we all should look for: use case, data, compute, and the validation. If you are able to achieve these 4 steps, I think AI for R&D is there to stay forever. Please.
One last point, when it comes to AI, as you rightly said, data and hardware. So data, one publication, when you do it, you know how much you spend? Okay, you published it. You got a high impact factor journal article. Now you want to put that data into AI. To get that data back, you have to pay $25. Okay, you published for free or maybe paid to publish. And now you have to put one publication record into AI, you have to pay $25 minimum. Okay, even if it is a metadata, even if it is taken from databases published, then you need to have permission. How many records are there you are going to put? As of now, I know it is 30 million data points, 30 million publications. You have to put it into the system. 30 million publications multiplied by $25 is a minimum things for one client to build one model to have some chemistry significant AI system. Now you can decide, where is Kapil? I am not able to find him. Okay? Yeah, fine. So now money, then computing required for building the model. So people talk about GPU systems. You have, 50,000 core in one computer. Your laptop has 4 core, but we are talking about GPU cores. To build AI, you need the huge computing system to handle that huge data which I talked about. You need money, you need data, you need permission to put that data into the system to build the model so that you can ask the right question to get the right answer.
I mean, just to extend that further, if I go with that logic to my management, he'll say, sorry, you can get out of my company. I can't invest into AI. Something which I don't know what would be the accuracy or the probability of success, right? How I look at it is, we would have to break down this problem into very smaller problems per se, right? Which can solve, I mean, I think all the 4 aspects of what Tushar mentioned, right? You need to really look at a particular portion of the value chain where you are currently facing a trouble, or where your life cycle takes more time or more money, or in terms of delivery, right? You need to really pick up that particular portion of the value chain, look at what data points do you have, what are you really looking at creating a value out of it, and then what compute level might be required to solve that problem, right? I mean, it is easier to maybe have a big hamburger or so, but you can't have the hamburger together in one bite. So how I see progressing in AI within any organization is breaking down into smaller pieces, take those bites, and then maybe deliver that to the management so that they can also have confidence of investing into it. But then, of course, the question which usually the users, like Sir asks is, what's the accuracy of your, AI, ML, or maybe AI-related things? And if you say that the probability would be around 70% or 77%, they would say, get back to me when it is 97. So probably, again, change management or user communication is required constantly to explain that it is, 77 is better than 0. So at least start there and then probably progress further.
I think I echo with what Ankit has said. I mean, we need to see what kind of objective we're going to meet by implementing AI. As I said, if it's going to be solving your larger problem in your value proposition, like time to market, and you're going to solve a certain bigger aspect of your development, then naturally you're going to get a budget for it, because that's the future, that I would say.
Okay, thank you. So I'm going to add one thing because I'm also quite passionate about the subject. There's AI, sometimes I've heard it shouldn't be artificial intelligence, it should be augmented intelligence. And I think one thing that is missing, so that I sort of heard in Tushar's 4th point, is the human into this, right? What are you doing within your organizations, within your immediate circle of colleagues to try and make people more AI literate, and then by AI, by extension, really, it's about large language models. That's what it's about. That what is going to be powering this AI revolution really comes down to large language models and has to do, in my opinion, with having people understand what it is, what it can, what it cannot do, and how it functions. Because in the end, we are, I mean, most people in this room are scientists. We like to understand how things work. The show of hands that I did at the beginning was specifically geared towards this point that I'm bringing up, is that less than a third of the room, unless they didn't want to raise their hands, has already played with ChatGPT, with a tool like that. And so how do we expect as companies to be able to deliver projects that involve AI and large language models as the electricity, really? Generative AI and LLMs are the electricity, it's a commodity, it will be tomorrow's commodity and the electricity for all the applications, the way we interact with the software, the way we interact with objects. And how can we expect as companies to have successful AI projects if the end user, the human, is not literate about this new thing? Would you like to give your take on that?
Yeah, this is a good question. I mean, a decade back when we started on this implementation of digital things in labs, the users were completely illiterate on how to feed the data inside ELN, what is the significance of having the clean data, what is the purpose of filling the metadata and all. And over the period now, there is quite a maturity across the users, how to manage these kind of applications. And I believe it's not that first we train the users to adopt a system and then bring the system. But when we implement a system with good support to users, they eventually learn to manage the system. It's only thing we need to put a very conscious efforts on training these users, making them believe in the systems that we are implementing. And that is how we can ensure good adoption. And similarly, I believe the things can be managed with the LLMs as well. Only thing, as we develop these technologies into the ELN, or we see these are getting embedded into the ELNs or maybe integrated, it should be very simple for the users to get into the operations, rather than it's giving them a feel that that they need to learn how to use it. It has to be as simple as how they are using the ELNs right now.
Users are the most important element of any kind of digital transformation or technology-based intervention which we do, irrespective of whether it is AI or something else, right? I think as an organization, what we try to do is focus on digital competency building. It cannot just stick to IT organization as such. It has to percolate down to the end user. That means every chemist, every biologist, every process chemist, every analytical scientist, everybody would have to probably build up on the digital competency. The other element is, I mean, if they are partners with you along the process, where you're identifying an opportunity where AI can be applied, when you are trying to build a system or maybe augment a system, a ready-made system from the market, they have to partner with you. And of course, when it has to roll out, right? You need to have champion users, you need to have users who can influence the usage, the adoption, and take it forward. So I think in every organization, users are key. And unless we have this competency building, we have this adoption, and we have this user support in terms of trying on new technologies, I think it wouldn't be successful.
I don't know. If I understand the questions correctly, in ELN, if you have to introduce AI, okay, which especially the users from pharmaceutical industry should adopt. Why we need AI? AI should tell the next molecule, the next billion-dollar molecule. That's why you want AI, because you have intelligence. Now you want artificial intelligence, because you want that $1 billion molecule fast right now. Okay? If that has to come from your signal, okay, I will give some signal. Okay? So you don't need, huge data, what I told in the previous discussion. You have your local data, okay? If you are in a big pharmaceutical industries, you have a local data, your own data. You don't need to pay any money for it. So now, discovering a new molecule from the known molecule is the logic you have to build. That is possible through AI, okay? That is how this drug repurposing is coming. That is how you have a scaffold. By modifying the functional group, can you get a new molecule? Can you predict the properties? Can you synthesize that molecule with retrosynthetic approaches? Because you have all the logic, rules, reactions, everything is pre-built in your rule book of ELN. Or you have handshake. Right now you have Spotfire, you have so many companies in the layer of ELN. Why not SciFinder? Why not reaction databases? If all are part of this as a rule, now with your own customer-based data, you can come up with a new molecule and also tell end-to-end solution. This is how you can synthesize, this is how expected properties, this is how, because already data is there. Okay, you succeeded in many drug discovery pipeline successfully and delivered something, that become a template for the next billion-dollar molecule using AI. You can do it manually using human intelligence, but AI will make it faster. Previously, I sounded negative when I talked about ChatGPT fails because the data is not correct. You please remember, whenever you use ChatGPT, it does only one thing. It predicts the next word. That's all. It predicts the next word based on 170 billion data points. Okay? So now, if you want to predict properly the entire workflow for your drug discovery, now you need to have internal data, then you have some logics already built in, then you can come up with some really rewarding solutions through using AI. So then customer will start applying. There is also a risk. Who will discover first? Okay? So if you belong to one company and if you have your own data, nobody has access to it. So in your domain, you can become champion as long as the data is secured. Okay? So in that way, it will be a win-win for everyone. This is my perception. I'm again sorry because this is my view about digital transformation or AI in R&D context. But the question is how adaptability of AI in product level so that it helps everybody. I don't know whether I answered it correctly or not. Okay, thank you.
No, absolutely. So today, whatever you are touching is turning gold. Okay, so whatever you say, we are there with you because definitely you are the right person on the panel. So I think I like the question. And also you mentioned around augmented intelligence. That is a right way of putting it. People have this notion that AI will replace my job. No, it will enhance productivity. It will help you to do your job better because it will sometimes do stuff for you. You don't have to spend time to do non-productive or mundane activities because AI is going to help you to do so. Yeah. So that is one notion which I think that audience should look at. Second thing, I think any big thing starts from a very small initiative. Even when ELNs of the world came in, the scientists were saying that it takes more time for me, system restart ho jata hai and whatever, issues will there, my passwords are getting reset, I'm not able to enter, it's additional extra work for me and all. Now, those same people are not able to work even a day without the ELNs, right? Because they don't want to go back to that same paper-based system and then get 100 people sign off on top of it and all. So instead of that, now ELNs have changed the mindset. I told in my session as well. Mindset has changed from a paper to a digitalized system. now, right? So even for AI, I echo what Ankit mentioned, that why don't we start with 1 or 2 working use cases, a pilot or a POC, bring that front, make some marketing around it, the way you did your product marketing, very impressive. So do some marketing around it, show that power. Art of possible is something is driven through some use cases, maybe initial success stories, but then familiarize people that this is the art of possible. Then people's mind will open up and they will come up with more use cases. Atanu alluded to this point called business translators. Try to build those business translators within the business so that they become your torch bearers, and they are the ones who will promote it further and get you more resources, more funds, and more use cases as well. So yeah, I'm speaking a lot because I spoke in the session as well. I'll restrict myself.
I just had one more perspective to add here. I mean, see, in any kind of research, you always move in a positive way forward. If your molecule fails at a particular stage, you don't move that forward, right? Do you test that in the further stages? So this is also a change which needs to be brought in. If we would have to apply AI better on your existing data, you also need to conduct negative reactions. A molecule which has failed in a particular stage, you would have to take it forward and test it beyond that so that you have both negative results as well as positive results. So, considering your own, data would not be sufficient enough to probably make a better call, right? And if things would have been easier said than done, I think everybody would be an innovator in today's time, right? So, not everybody has the affordability of having so much of data already in. So we are already lagging behind with those organizations which are century old. I can talk about agrochemical space. I come from that space. So, I think Ralph showed he had 6 top agrochemical players in his list: Syngenta, Bayer, BASF, Corteva, FMC, and so on, right? PI is competing. If PI has to compete against those, we do not have a liberty of having century-old data of research, right? We need to start something which we have now, something which probably we can delve into from the industry or the market, right? We're also not as liberal as pharma world, where every compound at various phases of the clinical trial phases is available in the market, right? You can download from various databases. You can learn about them, right? The agrochemical world is even tougher. We do not have a liberty of having high cost of goods as well. So when I look at AI applying on these, my use cases further drill down into building something which is easier to make, which is cost effective, which is not hazardous because it has to be consumed by the animals, the human, it has to be consumed by the environment itself, right? I can't probably kill pollinators like honeybees. So the number of complications in every kind of research will change. And I think that's where the AI complexity and the applications, and of course, the user interface with those applications also varies.
Rupari, would you like to add something, or and I can go on? So just one question. Well, two comments from my side. One about you said something, Tushar, about making people realize, right? And I think that in the case of the LLMs that will power all the software in the future, it's important to realize that it's more than, I agree with the principle, it predicts the next probable word based on the context and the training, but more than that, more than it can write an email in the style of Mahatma Gandhi, for example, which ChatGPT could do based on its training data. It also is a tool that can allow you to, for communication, draft an email or communication or instructions in Hindi, in Tamil, in Bengali, in Punjabi, in Telugu, right? It's a language model. It's very good at that. It's very good at summarizing. It can very well summarize without too many hallucinations, so that if you have a big, for example, we are going to be using for this very event a transcription of everything that has been said. And we're going to ask the large language model to create a summary of the key takeaways of the various speakers that you will get by email, right? So this is one practical application that we're using today. And so people need to become more and more familiarized with all that in order to, well, stay up to date, stay current. I read somewhere that Singapore has, the government of Singapore has allocated a large chunk of money for the education, technology education of anyone above 40, right? They have committed, they have set aside a huge chunk of budget just for education of their citizens on topics like AI, and AI is being taught in high schools in South Korea as a topic, right? It's important to stay, to stay up to date on all of that. I will switch to another topic and a question to ask. You had a great presentation, by the way, so thank you for that, and I will pick on that one more time. The World War II plane, right? So the World War II plane, how are you in your organizations taking into account the negative data, the failures? Are you keeping track of that, or do you have directives in the ELN to record and make sure you record precisely the reactions that did not work, whereas, as opposed to, those are all the reactions that have 75% plus yield. We're going to build a model out of those, but all the ones that did not work, how are you handling, this aspect of machine learning?
So, you are asking me how to handle the negative data, whether you are going to record or not. When I was doing PhD, I think most of you did PhD, the guide says, make this molecule, okay? Anyone faced that type of things? So when you are a first day, you joined the college, then means PhD, then the guide says, make this molecule. Then you break and then go to the SciFinder, search everything, or then come up with some schemes that 18 steps, you can make that molecule, okay? I'm not talking about 1 step, 2 step, it's 18 steps, starting from some benzaldehyde, ending up with 8-membered ring attached to the system, and some cyclic compound. In that 18 steps, what is the guarantee that each reaction will go 100% and, success? So then you keep trying all these things. You made 17 steps, 18 steps did not go. What you do? Then, it did not work in your hand. Okay? So sometime, did you hear that? It may not work it did not work in your hand. Maybe it will work in another hand. So we don't record. Okay? We don't publish. There is no journal which only publishes failed reactions. If there is a list of journals, equivalent number, what we have publications with successful reactions, if you have a list of all the failed reactions, you can save time, money, energy. That is where AI will succeed. Because you should not repeat other person's mistake. Okay? Or you can, okay, at least I know that it failed, I will try something different. As long as this comes into the system, you will never able to build a model based on only positive result. This is my point of view. Okay? So you need to have a system in your facility or institute or company, so that what happens you should record truthfully, honestly. Then only AI will give honest result. Junk in, junk out. This is my perception. And if you give only partial data, you will give partial results. This is my point of view. I don't know whether.
Absolutely.
I ended up my previous answer by saying that people don't do negative reactions. But what I feel is whatever is being done should be recorded, right? Whether it helps you to find positive results or negative results, both are important. Because what you want to make and what you don't want to make is equally, again, two special calls which needs to be done. Like Sir mentioned, all the positive outcomes goes into patent documents, maybe research articles which you publish. At PI, we also have something called internal scientific publications, where we publish even these negative reactions so that the scientists can learn from the mistakes and also record that this is something which we tried but didn't work. Probably next time when we have the same situation of maybe trying that same route of synthesis, probably we can avoid that or maybe try with a different logic altogether, right? But as I mentioned earlier, unless you have negative reactions or maybe negative reactions done, you would not be able to apply learning to the systems. As Tushar showed in his presentation, the funnel says from 5 lakh molecules you come to one molecule which is there in the market. The goal is to reduce this funnel life cycle, right? At PI, probably we've achieved, instead of 5 lakhs, 50,000 molecules leading to maybe 2 or 3 molecules in the market, right? That's the first gain which we've done by not maybe doing negative reaction till the end, but at least till certain stages. So for example, in the phase 0, phase 1 of research, where our molecules go from chemistry to biological profiling, whether in vitro, in the greenhouses, or up to microfield trials, we do conduct all these experiments on all the molecules which we make. But after a period of time, when we learn from what is working, what is not, in particular project, we reduce the number of series which we make, right? So our aim is probably to increase the probability of first time right success, whether it is discovery, whether it is process, or whether maybe it could be formulation. So I think negative reactions, negative kind of data, for me, is equally important than positive. Of course, depending on the use case, you might have to filter on the negative reactions when you're probably looking at positive results, but then it could be just two probability, right? Whether the data result is it's true or it is false, right? So, to apply, you require both kind of reactions in it.
Just one statement and then it's all yours. So Thomas Edison failed 1,000 times to make a light bulb on 1,001th time, right? So those 1,000 experiments, whatever he ran, has made him to learn and to improvise. So definitely it's a must-have. There's not even a question that we should not consider that. Yeah, absolutely. I just want to ask Rupari, in the context of digital transformation at CIPLA, is this a practice? Is this a practice that you try to teach people? Because most of the scientists come from academia, where you are told that you only get to publish the good-looking data. But have you tried to force or to encourage the various scientists at CIPLA when it comes to an ELN, a system where it's easier to record maybe an experiment as opposed to writing it on paper? Do you go in that direction to encourage users to record experiments that don't work?
Yeah, so as a part of compliance, each and every activity which is being conducted in labs has to get into the ELN. So many times at the beginning of the experiments, the scientists are unaware that this experiment is going to fail. And so it's recorded always, and at the end they realize that this is not working out. And as we have the analytics dashboard, which is flashing out every important parameter across the experiments, so it pretty throws the light on what has gone bad, what has gone bad, what has failed, what is appearing to be good. However, a lot of time the root cause analysis on why it has failed is not been done. And that is where I see the scope of AI coming in, which will help scientists understand that if this is something not working out, it's failing, then why is it? Because across so many variables that is trying into the experiments, what has really caused that experiment to be not good, and the one which is successful, why it is so successful. So having this root cause analysis is very, very essential for scientists to bring in a confidence in the product.
So there is a positive, there is a negative. There is something called outlier, okay? You can easily find the outlier if you failed some reactions, some odd one out, it's supposed to succeed. So machine learning, deep learning will tell you this is the outlier. One, you can, instead of ignoring the outlier, getting the best model, you should explain the outlier. That is how this AI will succeed from my point of view. Thank you so much.
do you want to add something?
So many, I don't know why you guys are sharing. We are a good team. I think collaboration. Yeah. So thank you so much. We have got some questions on the app. We are just on a time. I think people have some flights as well. So I just want to quickly just ask this point coming from Vasant. I think the question is, the second question, Vasant, we can discuss over the, because I can help you with that answer. Yeah. Do we have enough resources in the pharma domain with AI skills to achieve success as achieved by other industries like retail, supply chain, etc.? How to generate resources of this kind to get the enormous benefits that are waiting to be achieved? So you can see, that's the reason we have this panel. So you can see we have resources in the pharma space, a lot of resources for the AI, but anyone can take this question.
I mean, I'm not sure if you're tracking a company called In Silico Medicine, right? That's the buzz. Currently, they've come up with maybe a phase 3 molecule using AI, ML, and so on, right? But I think the question is about market as well, and right?
About the resources unavailability in the market, being people are talking about AI, but in pharma space.
Yeah, see, how I see this is, first of all, even to evaluate somebody, whether they have the competency and they can get on board, you really need to learn yourself. And how we start at PI is first augment that skill as maybe a consulting exercise or through a contract or maybe through a vendor partner relationship. Probably once we learn through that, then probably we look at augmenting that competency in-house. And there are, I think, organizations which are coming, I mean, the colleges, the academia which is coming up, training these people. I mean, I did hire recently somebody who comes from a bioinformatics background, right? And also comes up with the chemistry knowledge. So who could play a role of a maybe dual AI implementer in their organization. So it is tough to probably have that skill set currently, but then people have started coming up. I mean, people are learning about it, and I think you'll get more skills in it, but it's still niche.
Yeah, one pointer. Very great question, by the way, sir. I think this is the lacuna industry has today, and getting such people is like gold mine. No one will want to leave that person. If at all I get a chance to get my hands on what Ankit has, probably I'll be happy to do so. But anyways, jokes aside, yes, absolutely, there is no straightforward yes to this. But what generally companies do is they try to groom from internal. Yeah, so people who have some kind of a nick who are coming from science and they want to learn something around digital or something on data science, then such people are actually appreciated, and they are actually trained in the other, they are cross-skilled rather. And that's how it's important. So I think one important thing, data science is a very domain-specific subject. It cannot be a digital subject. Yeah? You need to know the domain, then only you'll be able to write those models on top of it, and then only those success will start coming in. Best way to do is to groom internally. Finding is really difficult. If you get one, please hire. If you don't get one, please groom. That's the best way.
So just to add on to this, so technologies will evolve and newer technologies will keep coming. What is more important is to understand what's the business problem, what's the challenge that we're going to solve. And it's going to happen through the thorough business knowledge one has. And also over the period, if there is an acquired knowledge on how these solutions can be digitally enabled, how these solutions can be designed to solve these business problems. I think, so the resources working on these digital implementations from the business, having the right skill set of the applications that are needed in the business, the problems that needs to be solved, as well as the some sort of a knowledge on the digital technologies. So I think with the bigger and bigger implementations across industry, such kind of resources are being developed nowadays. Yeah. I myself is an example of that. So if you want to hire me.
So
Sorry, I don't think I'll be able to afford.
So I have a say here, like, so
Thank you, panel members. This is a really insightful discussion on AI. I think there is no doubt that AI has a lot of capabilities. So why the point is why still many companies are really hesitant to adapt till now at this stage is because there are two aspects to it. So one, I completely agree with Dr. Karthikeyan that how accurate it is, how much feed, what data you are giving, because ultimately, since I belong to drug product development with 23 plus years of experience, I can say that all this drug, whatever we are developing, it has to be bioequivalent, or maybe it has to be successful in the human trials. So until company sees that, whatever prediction maybe AI do, ultimately, as long as they see that it has to be on the human being, then there is a dark. Because even though AI predicts, they'll not trust it until it comes to the floor. One part is that's why maybe they're a little hesitant at this stage. And second is regulatory bodies should encourage. So like FDA, whoever the regulatory people are approving those drug products, if they say that it is based on this AI, they can do it by skipping those clinical trials, then companies will obviously encourage to do it. So for example, now they've started doing simulation study approvals, in vitro approval, in simulation studies by skipping bioequivalent studies. So this is doing good, but then it has to be that much strong and reliable. Unless that, it will be a big question mark on this.
So I would like to answer this question. I mean, so similar to other initiatives, there is a guidance which is now published, which is called as a good simulation practices, and which is talking about how to validate this kind of models, and which brings in a lot of FDA perspectives also on how do we build, train, and validate these models. And this has been developed by a consortium who are the industry experts, the simulation experts, and also some of the health authority representatives also a part of it. So I think industry is moving towards making it as a regular practice, and which is endorsed by health authorities as well.
I'll just like to add that all these models will not be a substitute to any kind of experiments or the trials which have been done. Probably, I look at the use cases would be to probably choose which ones to go for trials, right, first. So there will not be a replacement of any trial. Every medicine, even if it is generated through AI, right, it has to be tested thoroughly across the various testing things. Yeah.
Because I am also into NC developments. So suppose we are developing 5,000 molecules in the screening stage, and based on certain predictions, good molecule we are leaving it. So then we are going into something else and ending up negative. So that confidence is not coming. So unless that confidence is there, this will always be a big point of
you're right.
discussion.
You're absolutely right. I think that is where the journey has to start, and then probably it will, along the way, it will get matured. Like, I'll give you an example. The first AI/ML model which we applied was in an insecticides project, right? And when we went to the scientists and told them that instead of making these 100 molecules, you just make these 33 molecules, and out of these 33, we are confident that 70% will be active in your in vitro, right? It so happened that out of these 33, 28 were active. So the confidence level was there, but then just because of those 5 were not active, he said, the same thing he said, that the other 67 might also be faulty, where you said that it will not be active, but they might be active. So they again made those 67 molecules, which we had rejected as an AI/ML model. And out of those 67 also, there were maybe 13% were true false there. So we again, 16 came out to be more active again. So when we replicated the same model in another insecticides project, the probability increased of success. So I think that is where you would have to start. Yes, there is a chance that something which has been eliminated through these models were actually active. That is where we don't rely only on AI/ML. We also rely on the scientific temperament in terms of evaluating those molecules.
So thank you so much.